It's okay. It's okay, Leo. Let's go, Leo!
All right, quick PSA. Pay attention to your friendly bicyclists and pay attention to those bike lanes, all right? That's all I'll say about that.
You good?
I'm good, I'm good.
Hey, give it up for Leo!
All right, so I am the product of two people who are products of trauma. So, my parents did a good job. They did their best. And this story is about my dad. So, my dad had this idea that he wanted to build a work ethic in me. I think that was his idea. And I spent a lot of time doing video games and doing introvert kind of stuff. So, you know, my parents were like, okay, you gotta do a sport, you gotta choose a sport to do over the summer, so I chose baseball, whatever. This story isn't about that. This story is about how, during the downtime, my dad liked to do projects around the house, like rebuild the basement or redo the bathroom, that kind of stuff. And he always had me and his kids, mostly it was me and my brother because we were the only boys. But me specifically, I'm the oldest, so he would employ me to help him with these projects. But the only thing that I remember about these projects was doing the really tedious, hard labor, the real elbow grease kind of stuff. So I have lots of memories of just sanding wood with thin, cheap sandpaper you get at Menards, just sanding and sanding and sanding until my fingers hurt. And I remember at times telling my dad, "Dad, can you help me? I'm having a hard time here." And he would always go, "Leo, you're helping me." And that just made me like, okay, but I'm having a hard time here, and he's having all the fun, using the power tools and the saws and all the fun stuff, and I'm stuck here sanding wood. And I remember doing this from elementary school all the way through high school, and even when I was in Boy Scouts, another Boy Scouts reference, the only thing about making the soapbox car, what are they called? The Pinewood Derbies, yes. Pinewood Derbies, as the only thing I remember was sanding. One of the Pinewood Derbies, we always did creative stuff because I was terrible at making fast cars. So I remember one time we had an idea to make it look like a clothesline and grass and stuff. It was his idea, but he convinced me it was a cool idea and I liked it. But the only thing I remember was sanding. And we had another project, we had these metal poles that had little intricate leaves on them, but it was rusting away, it was old. So he wanted to repaint them. So he tasked me with, of course, sanding all of these things tediously. My hands hurt. So part of me thinks, okay, he was using me as cheap labor so we didn't have to buy these expensive power tools to do the stuff the easy way. But also I can see how he wanted to instill this value of like hard work in me and whatever, that's fine. Cut to years later, I'm 30 years old or something. This was a few years ago. And he had this house and he wanted me to help him rebuild his deck. And he would pay me for the first time. He gave me allowance for the other stuff, but it was pennies. So I was like, okay, this seems like a good way to add some, earn some extra money. So I was like, okay, I'll help you rebuild your deck. That actually sounds kind of fun. So I went over there, and what he wanted me to do was take all of the old rotten wood from his old deck and tediously take out all the nails so that he could cut it up and turn it into firewood, which I was like, first of all, why not just burn the wood with the nails on it? That's not a big deal. But I think he was worried that it was gonna cut it or something. Anyways, the point is, it was the tedious shit I was tired of doing from when I was a kid. So I was like, here's the deal. If I help you with this project, I get to use the power tools, I get to use the drills and the saws and measure the wood and do the fun shit, and you get to do the tedious stuff. And he was like very surprised by that. I'm like, do you realize that when I was a kid, you always had me do the sanding and the tough stuff, and you could easily do it with like a belt grinder, or like a belt sander or whatever, but we could never afford that because we didn't have a lot of money. But that's all I remember from these projects. And he told me about how he wanted to instill this value of hard work and all that stuff. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. But still, I'm 30 years old now. I know how to use all these power tools because I watched you do it from afar. And now it's my turn. And I knew how to use these tools from things I had done on my own. So I said, if you don't agree with this deal, then I'm out. I'm not going to help you. So he was like, oh, okay. So yeah, he was stripping away the screws, and I was measuring the wood, cutting it, and I did a damn good job, all right? And I wish I had a nice little button to end the story on. I wish I could say I really learned the value of hard work and my dad showed me the way and yada, yada, yada. But you know what? To this day, when I have to scrub my tub, you know what I do? I put on a brush drill bit to my drill, and I get it done in a minute, and I'm done.
Let's give it up, Leo!